So guys, today is a very exciting day in the world of open source image generation because just a few days ago we got access to ZImage Base. Now, if you've been following along, you've probably heard of ZImage Turbo, which is a model that came out several months ago, and it was a distilled model of the base model, which we now have access to. What this means is that we can do even more powerful things with the base model. We can fine tune it and we can build additional tools around it. And I'm sure the open source community is going to go wild over this. Today, I'm going to show you how you can run ZImage Base. I'm going to show you how to run it in ComfyUI in two different ways and how you can run it if you don't want to deal with ComfyUI, how you can run it in an even easier way. And I'm going to show you some of the differences between ZImage Base and ZImage Turbo. And I'm going to show you how you can combine it with some other AI models to do some really cool video generation. So let's go. So this is the ComfyUI workflow for ZImage Base. And there's a few different ways you can get started. I'm using InstaSD to run ComfyUI because I think it's the easiest way to get going with ComfyUI. If you want to run this within InstaSD, all you have to do is head down to instasd.com/workflows. And here you have a curated list of ComfyUI workflows that you can run with basically just one or two clicks. And the latest one here is ZImage non-distilled, and you can just click launch and go from there. If you want to run it manually yourself on your own local install of ComfyUI, all you have to do is head down to the ComfyUI blog. And as of this recording, this is the latest blog post in the blog. So you'll see it right at the top. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the post, you'll see the download workflow button, and you can download the JSON and go from there, drag it into your local install and download the models. Okay, so what are some of the differences between ZImage Base and ZImage Turbo? Well, because Turbo was a distilled model, it was actually a lot faster. So distilled models are much smaller models and they usually require fewer steps. If you notice this step parameter here on our sampler, the Turbo model was usually requiring 9 steps. The recommended step count for the base model is somewhere between 30 and 50. In my experiments, I haven't really noticed much of a difference between 30 and 50, so I'm always going to set it to 30 or maybe even a little bit less to make sure I get faster generations. So before we do anything else, I'm just going to do one generation here with the default prompt, and we're going to see what kind of images we can get from ZImage Base. And there we go. So this is a 1024 by 1024 image. And I just think this is so great. You've got all the details of the clothes, the texture on the trees. You can even see the texture on the bark all the way up here, and all the colors and shadows on the leaves. This is just fantastic. So one of the things that I've done is I've looked at some of the sample images and prompts that the team behind ZImage have put out, and I've basically got a custom GPT that helps me write really great prompts for ZImage. And I'm going to now show you guys a few of these prompts and images so you can see the kinds of things that ZImage Base can do. And by the way, if you want access to the custom GPT that writes these prompts, just let me know in the comments and I will share with you the link. So this first prompt is of a fisherman on a pier, and we are emphasizing elements like lighting and the texture. And I've always noticed that ZImage Base is doing an amazing job with the texture. I mean, just look at his sweater, his skin, his face. This is really, really great. And gone are the days of the plastic face look of AI-generated images. Next image is kind of a nature photography style, Bengal tiger crossing a grassland. Again, the prompt is emphasizing the composition and the lighting, and I think the result speaks for itself. Again, with the texture, if you zoom in, you can see the individual lines of the tiger's fur, and this is just a really, really great photo. Next, we have a animated style, kind of a cartoon scene with kind of a cozy fireplace scene with frosted windows. So if you want to create things like children's storybooks or anything like that, ZImage Base can also do various styles and anime and that sort of thing. And it's really, really awesome scene here. And it does really well with text. So this prompt I just made specifically, I asked my custom GPT to create a prompt that is just focused on demonstrating the capabilities of text generation by ZImage Base, and it does a really great job. First, there's elements of text that are not prompted in this scene, like the labels on the bookshelves in the back. So those are not prompted and they don't make any sense. but the parts that are in the prompt, they are generated perfectly in all of my experiments. If you're into creating AI avatars, again, this is kind of like a social media style photo of a girl lying on a beach. And again, guys, with this skin texture, so realistic, I don't think anyone will be able to tell that these are AI generated images at this point. And if you were using all kinds of workflows for skin enhancement or making it more realistic, there are some paid tools out there that just do that. I think they're all going to go out of business now because this is just amazing. Next, we have a macro shot of morning dew on an orchid. So just beautiful, and you can see all the reflections on the droplets and the positions of the droplets. As far as I can tell, it all makes sense. And lastly, because this model does so well with a lot of these facial details and skin and hair and textures on clothes, I wanted to create a close-up shot of a kind of a Mad Max style character that highlights a lot of these elements. All right, so this one's actually one of my favorite prompts that I got with Z-Image Base, and the reason for that, although I think this particular generation was not the best that I got with these buckles that don't really make sense here, but overall, look at that skin texture, guys. I don't think you ever need another skin enhancement workflow or anything like that. The realism on this is off the charts. And look at even the texture on the leather straps. This is absolutely incredible. But one of the things that I want to show you as well is I'm just going to lock my seed here to fixed. There we go. One of the main differences between Z-Image Turbo and Z-Image Base is that you can actually add negative prompts. So here, for example, this girl is having blonde hair. If I wanted to not have any blonde hair, even though I'm using the exact same seed, I could actually push the model away from this. I think it did change the seed again, didn't it? Even though I set it to fixed, it moved it again. Let's try it again, changing the negative prompt to black hair and see how it does with this one. Sometimes ComfyUI, when you change the seed from randomized to fixed, sometimes it still does one more randomization before it actually fixes the prompt, so fixes the seed. So I think that may have been what happened here. So yeah, there you go. So just having that negative prompt can give you a little bit more control over exactly which elements you do and do not want in your image. And so that can be a pretty powerful tool. One thing also to note is that if you've trained any custom LoRa's with Z-Image Turbo, those LoRa's will not work with Z-Image Base. So we are going to have to retrain our LoRa's. So I also want to show you another way that you can run Z-Image Base if you're not so familiar with ComfyUI, or if you want to more easily combine it with other AI models. So for that, I like to go to WunderNode. So this is an empty canvas within WunderNode, and I can just drag a text to image node, and here you can select Z-Image, and I'm going to paste in my prompt. So this is exactly the same thing that we saw on the other side with ComfyUI. Here I can set the dimensions easily, so I'm going to choose portrait, and let's randomize our seed and generate an image. So there we go. Same thing as before, really cool image, really great quality. And now, because that image base creates such amazing photos, I think they're really great photos as a starting point for making great videos. So I'm going to drag an image to video node here, and I'm going to feed this in as the start image. And I'll say something like, okay. And my favorite video generation model these days is Cdance Pro, so I'm going to select that. And 5 seconds is fine. And maybe let's let it create some audio for us as well. And let's see what we get. I just even noticed, look at the detail in her eyes. Isn't that amazing? I'm really excited about this model, you guys. And there you go. We have our video. Let's see how it turned out. Not bad. The motorcycle doesn't make a whole lot of sense with that jack, but maybe that was a little bit of my prompting there. That basically shows you a very easy way to get started with Z-Image Base and actually use it as a starting point for making awesome videos. So that's it for today. I hope you have fun with playing around with Z-Image Base, however you choose to run it. And in a future video, I'm going to explore how we can work on custom LoRa's and fine tuning and that sort of thing. And so if you want to hear more about that, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you want access to the custom GPT to make prompts for Z image base, be sure to drop a comment. Until then, enjoy creating.